All right, everybody, welcome back. So you're diving into Neil Gaiman's American Gods, huh?
It's quite the ride.
It really is. And in this deep dive, we're going way beyond the pages, not just exploring the story itself, but like how Gaiman crafted this world.
Oh yeah, his writing process on this one was fascinating.
Seriously. And, we've even got some of his thoughts on, get this, roadside attractions.
Of course.
Right. It all ties in, trust me. But first, can we just talk about how this book came together? Gaiman wrote American Gods all over the place. We're talking like Florida sunshine, then a cabin in Wisconsin, even a Vegas hotel room.
Talk about soaking up the atmosphere.
Right. And he was dedicated too, like aimed for 2,000 words a day.
Wow.
I know. But even hitting 1,000, he was happy, kept him going. And here's the thing. He was weaving those coming to America stories right alongside Shadow's journey, almost like he was discovering the path as he wrote it.
It's true, and it makes you think, right? Just like Shadow's thrown in this crazy journey of discovery, Gaiman's writing process mirrors that, doesn't it?
Totally. It's like this organic unfolding thing.
And it really adds to that element of surprise.
Yeah.
The unpredictable nature of the story.
Absolutely. Which reminds me of the story Gaiman told about talking to Gene Wolfe.
Oh, I love this one.
So Gaiman finishes the first draft, right? Feels pretty good about himself, thinks, boom, nailed it. Learned how to write a novel.
Classic. Yeah.
Right. But Wolfe's response is just, it's perfect. He goes, you never learn how to write a novel. You only learn to write the novel you're on.
Which is so true. When you think about it, each book, it's a whole new beast. It's got its own challenges, its own rhythm, its own discoveries.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Exactly. It's that constant evolution, embracing the unexpected, just like American Gods itself, right?
100%. And speaking of which, quick heads up, the edition you're holding, it's actually a revised version. Gaiman wasn't totally happy with the first go-round, so he tweaked some things.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he made some pretty significant changes for this one. And, just to kind of give you a taste of what we're dealing with here, there's this moment, right? Shadow's in prison. He's been sentenced to death. And suddenly he feels this relief.
Oh, I remember that part.
Right. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. Then we've got the warden delivering the news of Shadow's release. And, oh, yeah. Laura's death.
With absolutely zero emotion.
Well, like it was nothing. Just another Tuesday.
Sets the tone, doesn't it?
Chillingly effective. And then, of course, enters Mr. Wednesday.
The mystery man himself.
With the job offer so shrouded in secrecy, you know you're in for a wild ride. It's like, boom, you're thrown headfirst into this world where the rules, they don't apply anymore.
It's true. And those little details, they're not so little when you think about it, right? They say so much about what Gaiman's going for. That relief Shadow feels, it's like this unsettling foreshadowing of what he's stepping into.
Totally. And the warden's demeanor, talk about the hand of fate, right? Uncaring, random.
It makes you wonder who or what is really in control. And as for Mr. Wednesday's offer, well, it just pulls you right in. You're hooked. Nothing is what it seems.
And that's when things get really interesting, right? Because suddenly we're not just dealing with the mortal world anymore. Shadow starts encountering like actual gods and mythological figures. I mean, we're talking Mad Sweeney, Cernabog, the Zoria sisters.
Mr. Nancy. Don't forget Mr. Nancy.
Oh, man, Mr. Nancy. Gaiman just brings them to life, Every detail, every word just crackles with this energy.
It's more than just vivid imagery, though, right? These encounters, they're all very deliberate. Each one reveals something not just about this hidden world, but about Shadow himself.
And about the central conflict, too, right? The old gods versus the new.
Exactly. It's this brilliant reflection of how our beliefs, our values, they're constantly evolving. Like, what does it mean to be a god in a world that's moved on from the old ways?
It makes you think, that's for sure. And then there are those dreams Shadow keeps having. Vivid, unsettling, always with that buffalo man.
Oh, yeah. Those dream sequences are masterful. They make you question everything, blur the lines between what's real and what's not. It's like even Shadow doesn't know what to believe.
And that feeling just seeps right into you as a reader.
Totally. And the Buffalo Man, his words, they're like these cryptic warnings, these hints at something bigger, something darker to come.
Foreshadowing at its finest. Gaiman's talked about how much he loves those quirky roadside attractions. And there's one in particular that actually inspired him while writing American Gods.
You mean House on the Rock?
That's the one. He's even said he had to tone it down for the book. Can you imagine? A real place so strange you have to make it less weird for fiction.
It's amazing, isn't it? And it speaks to this idea that sometimes reality is stranger than anything we can dream up. But with American gods, those roadside attractions, they become more than just tourist traps. They represent this hidden side of America.
The weird and the wonderful.
Exactly. Where belief takes on these tangible forms, these roadside shrines to the extraordinary. And just like those attractions, American gods, it draws you in, makes you question what you believe and why.
Speaking of journeys, did you hear about Gaiman's Rock City adventure?
Oh, you mean the one where he drove all day and almost missed it?
Yeah. He sees Rock City signs everywhere, figures it's just around the corner. Turns out, not so much. It's like this whole unexpected detour, this wild goose chase.
Which, it ties in perfectly with the whole theme of journeys and discovery in the book,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Mm.
Shadow's Path, it's full of these twists and turns, these moments that force him to reevaluate everything.
Exactly. It's about more than just the destination. It's about what you find along the way, those unexpected encounters that change you.
And in Shadow's case, those encounters, they're often with the darkest, most forgotten corners of America, those places where the old ways linger and the lines between myth and reality blur.
And as he's going through all this, right, Shadow starts realizing this isn't just some random, road trip. Like, he's got skin in the game now.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
He goes from being swept along to realizing he has a real part to play in this whole cosmic drama. It's like no more backseat driving for Shadow.
Right. And the stakes just get higher and higher. I mean, we're talking danger around every corner, betrayals that cut deep. He even faces death, like, head on.
But isn't it interesting? Through all that, those dark moments, he finds things he didn't even know he was looking for. Love, loyalty, this sense of belonging he never had before.
It's powerful stuff. Really makes you think about, like, even when things are bleakest, there's always something to hold on to.
Absolutely. Hope, connection, those things can be pretty powerful,
Yeah.
even in a world as strange as this one.
Uh-huh.
And, one of the things that makes American Gods so unique is how Gaiman takes all these different elements, mythology, folklore, Americana, and blends them together. It's both familiar and totally unsettling at the same time.
Right. It's like he peeled back the surface of reality and showed us this whole other layer underneath.
Exactly. He takes these ancient gods, these stories we think we know, and makes them walk among us, like they've always been here, hidden in plain sight.
And then there are the new gods, right? The
Yeah.
ones representing technology, media, all that. It's like they're competing for our attention, for our very belief, in a way that's just as powerful as any ancient deity.
Oh, for sure. It's this constant battle, old versus new, for our hearts and minds. What do we worship in the 21st century? What sacrifices are we willing to make at the altar of convenience, of entertainment?
It's a lot to process. And poor Shadow, right? He's caught in the middle of it all, trying to figure out where he fits, what he believes.
Which, let's be real, it's something we all grapple with, isn't it? The information overload, the pressure to conform, to pick a side. Gaiman just puts a magnifying glass on all that.
Makes you think. So we've got this buildup, all this tension, and it all leads to this epic showdown, right? The old gods, the new gods clashing for, like, the soul of America.
And it is epic. The stakes have never been higher, and it culminates in this moment where Shadow has to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not easy. Not a clear-cut right or wrong.
Because there isn't one, right? It's like Gaiman saying the world isn't black and white and trying to force it into those neat little boxes. Yeah, good luck with that.
Exactly. It's messy, contradictory, and that's okay. Which, it brings us back to something you mentioned earlier, Gaiman, calling those roadside attractions the most sacred places in America. Seems like a strange thing to say until you really think about it.
It's like, what makes a place sacred anyway? Is it some ancient ritual, some grand cathedral, or can it be something simpler, more unexpected?
Right, like these roadside attractions, these weird, wonderful places that capture our imaginations. They're tangible expressions of belief, these little pockets of wonder we create for ourselves.
It's about finding the extraordinary in the ordinary. And that's what American Gods is all about. This journey, not just across America, but through the heart of belief itself.
And maybe, just maybe, it makes us look at our own journeys a little differently. Pay attention to the unexpected detours, the strange and wonderful things we often overlook, because who knows? We might just find ourselves face to face with a god or two along the way.